Please don't air any of this, Brad.
All right, we ready? You hitting it? Tell me when we're rolling. No, we've been rolling. God damn.
We're Googling over here.
All right.
To nerd sports now, people.
Exactly.
Look out. Do you fear death?
Oh, one of the greatest lines of all time.
I've got a job to it. I've got a job to it.
Kind of like whistles at her, so Dad looks over and the guy's going. And Dad's like, I got the fuck out of there. I was like, oh man, you didn't partake? I thought that was part of the mountain biking community, that y'all just went out there and had sex together in your tight shorts. But
Literally making me 30 sides of red sauce. He just takes it back up.
So that's what I was doing wrong the first time.
That's what you were doing wrong.
Big Pharma's turning the frogs gay, and it's coming after your kids.
And they're going to make them incredibly happy.
Infowars.com.
Listened to so much. Are you...
Part of the journey is when I started working at Planet Fitness. Like, it dawned on me that it was like right after the first of the year where everybody's like all over the machines and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And I had read a quote that it said everybody has a secret that they won't tell, that they'll go to their grave with, that nobody will know about.
Yeah.
And I haven't met anybody yet that has told me that that is different. Everybody will carry a secret around that nobody will ever know about.
To their death.
To their death.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Mm-hmm. And it doesn't, I mean, it can be anything. And so when I put that in, January, everybody's doing these health goals and blah, 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 and you see every piece of equipment covered and all of these things, and all of these people are just going 90 to nothing, they're like whatever. And you're like, I wonder what their demon is. I wonder what their secret is.
Is that what you think those people are doing?
I mean, I can't say logically that they're doing that and they know that.
Are they on meth? I mean,
No. But you have to think about it. If you're a skinny guy and you're 60 pounds or 100 pounds going into junior high, you want to be big.
Yeah.
You get made fun of.
Certainly, yeah.
If you're 100 pounds or 150 pounds and you're fat or obese, you get made fun of because you're fat.
Sure.
So you want to be skinny.
We have an image of what you ought to look like.
It doesn't matter who you are, female, male, whatever.
Right.
There's something that is troubling you. And with girls, it's like, oh, I want bigger breast, or I want smaller breast because I've got too big and I get made fun of, or people look at me funny, or I want this butt and I don't have a butt and I have a big enough butt, or my thighs are too big or my thighs are too small, or like it's just
It seems a very superficial thing on the surface.
It's like having natural curly hair and wanting straight.
Right. Like, this is probably horrible, but like I'm 42 and I'm completely happy with dad bod. It's unhealthy.
Is it?
Well, I mean, the beard.
Are you happy?
With this, yeah, I have no problems with how I look. None. I'm unhappy in other areas of my life.
Sure.
But as far as my appearance, like, nah,
I don't think it necessarily.
But I get it.
Your secret is not necessarily your appearance.
Oh, sure. No.
So when you go, when you're going into the gym, I don't think necessarily it's streamlined into your appearance as more as is it. Are you working through your demons?
So.
Because that's how mine started.
You've probably told your story before. But if you want to tell it, I'd love to hear it because you fucking transformed. I didn't know you well at the company. I'll call it company.
We'll call it company.
I don't like, name dropping that shit. Keeps me legally free of consequences.
Correct.
But I didn't know you that well, but I knew of you, and you seem to be a, cool person.
Yeah.
That could talk some shit.
Yeah.
So that would be fun to have you on. You were down?
I think most people know that.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Just tell me, how did you transform into what you're at now?
I always say a long story of mine is always a long story, but I'll try to put it in a short story. So
we got plenty of time.
Worked at the company and went through a terrible breakup. And in the breakup process, I was 400 pounds. I think I was like 398 if you want to get specific. And went through the breakup and not realizing, until later on why I was picking the people that I was picking to be a part of my life in that way. I remember my house being completely empty, and I don't remember how I got a treadmill, but I put a treadmill in my room. And of course, you put a treadmill in your room, usually it's to hang laundry on.
Yeah.
Right? It becomes that. It becomes very dust,
It becomes a collector of things.
Yeah,
yes,
it's
absolutely.
a laundry chute. And so I remember it was on the left corner of my room, and somehow I ended up on the Couch to 5K app. And at that time it was free because it just came out. And I remember starting out 398 pounds at a 1.0 when it said to walk. And then when it says to run after a minute, I went to a 1.1 and I was out of breath.
Yeah.
And I did that nonstop. And I did the week one, I don't know how many times until I could get myself to where I could get to a faster pace.
Yeah.
Then eventually I went to week 2 and then I went to week 3.
Right.
And we're talking about like months it took me to get to this spot.
Sure.
And then I remember on lunch hours at the company, go down to the local gym and had a couple people that went with me. And I had lost 100 pounds by myself. And then I remember one day in particular, we had went on lunch hour and I was running 3 miles on my lunch hour at 300 pounds. And not losing a single thing.
You're right.
Nothing.
Plateaued.
There was nothing that was happening inside my body. And of course,
Yeah.
logically going back and even thinking throughout my life is you go to the gym, you make up your mind that you're going to have this diet. You're going to start on Monday, which is a terrible idea. Mm-hmm. Exit. And because it's the beginning of the week, well, technically that's Sunday, but we don't do diets on Sundays.
Right.
We meal prep and then we fell by Wednesday.
Right.
Then we go to the gym, and we go for an hour or two and beat the crap out of our bodies. And then the next morning we automatically get on the scale and we somehow mentally think that we're going to lose 5 pounds because
Right.
we went to the gym for 2 hours
Right.
and we meal prepped and we did all of the things that it said it did. And then it becomes an ongoing scheme of a vicious cycle that is taught doesn't matter if you're male or female.
Yeah.
You're constantly. And so then you're a failure.
Yeah.
Right?
It's
So then
negative feedback at
Then
that
you
point.
get all of that back, and then you're negative Nancy, and you're not going to do it. And then here
Yeah.
comes the next week, and you just
Yeah,
keep on
fuck
going,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was a product of that environment. I also think that when we go to doctors, nurses, whoever does the weight, whatever, we are measured by a number, and we're dictated if we are successful or if we're trash by a number. And we still are to this day. The BMI scale is completely not accurate. And
Yeah.
I mean, we're teaching children in schools now that they're obese, and they're not obese. They're active children. And
Right.
yes, could things be changed at home? Sure. I mean, I'm an adult. I could change things at home. But we're teaching our kids that you need to, in front of our kids, you need to get this under control with your children. And then it starts at whatever age, 5, 6, and then you're an ongoing. And then it just teaches you that you're a failure because your BMI is not, it's not in the green.
Where I grew up, the fat kids were funny.
Yeah, because
They
they're
had to be.
overcompensating.
They had to be.
Yeah, they had to be to
They
take the
could
bullying.
fucking crack jokes,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, yeah, nonstop.
Yeah.
I was funny.
Yeah.
I was obese kid.
Is that part of why you think that developed?
I think that that's where a lot of witty people come from.
Yeah. Getting made
But
fun
I
of.
also think that you can come from a gym family. You can come from an obese family. We are all traumatized in some
Yeah.
way, shape, or form. Nobody's had anything.
Yeah.
If you've not had it as a kid, you've had it as an adult.
Sure.
But back when all of my journey kind of started 3 years ago, I call it YouTube therapy. And I started listening. And one of the videos that I saw had said that your trauma really comes from while you're in the womb to 8 years old. And then you start going through life and there's certain triggers and stuff, and you don't realize that you've seen something at one or something that you've been in the womb or something, and then you're starting to figure that out and you're just cycling. So anyways, Jim tried everything known to man, went to all of the research places and all the diet places and the Weight Watchers and scanned the barcodes and did all of the things.
But what
that
made
I
you
did.
want this so bad? Like, what made you at this point in your life say, I've got to change?
My light switch moment, which this is what we call, and when I do the training, is the light switch moment was, I was working for the company and I was working out of state and I had started selling the business, and I had trips back to back, and I hadn't been on an airplane in I don't know how long, a few years. And I remember still struggling in those few years before trying to get the seatbelt put in, and locked. And after it was before 9/11, and then obviously this was after 9/11, and I had to go and see customers. And I got on the airplane, and I could not buckle the seatbelt, and it's embarrassing.
Yeah,
it's crazy, and I somehow managed through that not to have anybody say, here, have this, have that, or whatever, you can't be on this, or you need to find, an extra seat.
Right.
So I got off there. I made it through that trip, and then it was the second trip. That was a couple weeks later. I had got on there with my boss, and I remember, sitting in the seat. Nobody was sitting beside me, but my other half of me was sitting over here into the seat, and I was praying to God nobody was sitting beside me, because it's really hard to pick this much of you and put it over here, and then this much over here, and just sit like this for hours on a trip.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, most of the time you put your earbuds on, you don't want to talk to anybody, it's stranger danger, whatever. Right. And for whatever reason, I didn't do it, and there was a lady that was to my right, and she had 2 cups, Starbucks, the venti, the large ones, and she was double fisting it, and they were hers. I thought she was just maybe holding them for the other 2 people that were beside her, but no, and didn't pass any judgment. Do what you need to do, but at that point, she said, I'm going to need an extender. And I remember, it's an extender. I mean, it makes sense now, in my head, but at that point, it's an extender to put on your seatbelt to make more room so you can fasten the seatbelt.
Oh.
I didn't know that they existed.
I didn't either.
And then the lady brings said extender to her. And then it was just a domino effect. And then I started hearing 5 or 6 different people behind that asking for them. And I'm like, I will not ask for an extender. So I'm sitting in the airplane. Yeah. Got fat roll upon fat roll, skin over whatever. And I've got it. And it's not buckling. And I literally remember picking it up and putting it over said lock. Seatbelt, and stewardess comes through, and they're checking or whatever, and by this time I had one person over here, and this was empty. Right. All they looked at was that they was here, and that's how I flew to and from. Yeah. And I got back, and that next morning I looked at my boss and I was like, I'm going to go have weight loss surgery. And most bosses are like, oh my gosh, I don't know, what is it gonna do to our business, and how long are you gonna be out, and all of these questions, and it wasn't up for debate. Right. Once I make a decision, it's done. And he looked at me and he said, okay, just let me know. And I remember getting on HR and going through there, and I think that was around October, November. And I didn't have the right insurance, so I had to wait till January. January came around, and I made up an appointment with Dr. Roller, weight loss team, and it was scary. It was scary, and I believe in omens. I believe that you see things, you hear things, songs come on, placements, whatever. Yeah. And one of my omens was butterflies, because my grandmother had just passed away, the one that I was super close to, And when I went into the waiting room, or the patient room, there was a big white butterfly with blue around it and little purple and whatever. And I remember taking a picture of it, and I was like, I belong here. Day one. And I had already did all of the Google research, and I knew what surgery I was going to go do, and I was in the know. And if I Google something, like, I know it all.
Sure.
Yeah.
We all do.
Yeah, exactly. And so nurse practitioner comes in, and I'm like, I already know what I want. Like, we don't need to talk. Just when can it happen? And I remember looking me in the face, and of course, it's her job to tell me differently. And she was like, look, you can do whatever you want to do, but if you have X surgery, you're going to come back in 18 months, and you're going to ask me why you're gaining the weight.
Mm-hmm.
This surgery is for some people. This surgery is not for you. And I'm like, okay, well, you don't know me. Like, why isn't it for me? Didn't ask those questions. And I was like, okay. And she's like, I suggest that you go back home and you research the surgery. So, go back, research. I'm like, okay, well, she's a medical professional. She knows more than I do. Google. Go back, and you have to start writing all of your dietary needs, blah, blah, blah. And you do that for said company for 4 months for insurance to approve it. They'd run all of these different tests, stick some tubes down you, make sure you don't have ulcers, et cetera, et cetera. And then I got my date, which was May 19th, 2019. I remember telling my mom for the first time, hey, I'm going to go have this surgery. And she was like, what if you die? And I was like, I'm 300 pounds. I'm going to die if I don't.
This is after you'd already lost 100.
Yes.
And then you plateaued.
Correct.
Basically. Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what diet I did, no more exercise routine, nothing like.
The plateau knocks a lot of people off that journey.
Yep, and then they go back, or they're getting on medicine, and then you're getting that medicine, and then so on and so forth. So unless you're doing the work in the gym with said medication, and you know that that's just a temporary fix, that's just to get you over the plateau, but you've got to start.
Had you always been?
Yes. I was 150, 160 pounds in 6th grade. Okay. I got made fun of my entire life.
Right.
Yeah. And it was over my 6th grade to 7th grade year that puberty hit, and then all of a sudden I was no longer the fat kid. I had boosted up, and then I had developed, and for whatever reason that made me intimidating. I'm not entirely sure, but that's how it came about. So after I looked my mom in the face and I said, I'm going to die if I don't, that was the end of the conversation. And then had the surgery, and you have to go through a psych eval before you have surgery. What it does to hormones and what it does to your psyche and all of that stuff, because you lose so much, and you've been overweight all of your life, or been in a bad marriage or whatever, and you have all of this criticism. You're your own demon. You're on your email.
Yeah, sure.
You're your
we
sin.
create our own hells.
Yep.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
And I remember I had to take it in Dallas because I was living in Texas at the time, and the lady told me, Are you married, engaged, are you dating, what are you doing? And I'm like, no, I'm single. And she's like, I'm just going to tell you, I highly recommend that you don't even acknowledge the slightest look or the slightest message, online dating. Don't do any of that. And I'm like, why? And she said, because you've been overweight X amount of times. You've also stemmed from your childhood. And so any attention that you get, regardless if it's negative or positive, you're going to feed into that.
Sure.
And
well,
what you're ultimately going to do is invite bad people into your life that just want one thing and whatever. And I'm like,
they say that happens with birth control. Like the hormones in birth control make you attracted to people who are not what you would normally.
I mean,
it's on the fucking box. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, so I just remember getting in my car, and I'm like, okay, she got a degree in that, but it actually makes sense. And so
it makes a lot of sense.
I kind of took her advice, and I kind of didn't, because I remember hitting my 6-month mark, and I was down 80 pounds.
So you had the surgery?
Yeah. 100%. 2019, May 16th, 2019, had the surgery. 6 months later, I'm 80 pounds down. 80 pounds down make a significant difference in...
So you're down to about 220 at this point.
Yep. And I look totally different. Clothes are falling off. Yeah. I'm taking the pictures, whatever. The one thing I regret not doing is taking before pictures. before surgery. I mean, I have before pictures, but anybody that's obese stands behind other people, so you don't necessarily see all of the different angles and stuff. So, anyway, I had the surgery, and 6 months later, I start getting noticed, and I'm like, nope.
I want to talk about this, but what does that surgery entail? What do they do? What do they do to you?
Depends on which surgery you have.
What was yours?
I had gastric bypass.
Okay.
And so it's rerouting large, small intestine. I digest things differently. No carbonation. Carbonation irritates the stomach. It also will expand the stomach from the carbonation because of the air.
Okay.
You first 2 weeks after you have the surgery, you're on a liquid diet, and this changes from doctor to doctor. So if you're Dr. Roller for gastric bypass, this is what his, because this is what I had to do.
We're not giving medical advice.
Yeah,
we're just asking
absolutely.
your story.
Yeah, absolutely. So protein.
We're not fucking professionals, people.
No.
You should know this by
Yes. So we do the 2 week liquid diet, protein shakes. I remember super excited about the low sodium V8 cans because they were like not sugar or sweet, whatever. All liquid, and I lost I think 17 or 18 pounds in that 2 weeks off of that.
So you're down almost 200 pounds.
Yep. And so no, so this was 300 and so 20. So
okay.
280-ish. And so then you go into your second stage where you get, eggs.
This is pre-surgery.
After surgery.
Okay, this is after.
After surgery. Yeah, pre-surgery,
okay.
you basically, you have a certain dietary, I don't remember all of it.
Right.
So then the second stage you get, some vegetables, but you got to take the skin off and you got to do this and you got to do that. And the first day I remember going and getting grilled chicken nuggets from Chick-fil-A, and it was heaven.
Yeah.
It was heaven. I got a 4-piece. I couldn't finish a half of a nugget. I was full.
Wow.
The mentality that comes with that of, why can't I finish 4?
Yeah.
I was going through a 10-pack. Then hungry like an hour. Like, what's happening?
How fucked up is it that we can reroute our guts? That's kind of fucked up. If you think about it. You know what I mean?
But it's so. I mean, gastric bypass is the first surgery that ever really came about, as far as I know.
Yeah.
And so it's been around a long, long time, and they perfected it. And then obviously, with Dr. Roller's background, he's the best, and his team's the best, and so it's according to me. But then I remember being in Texas and having one egg, scrambled egg, and some cottage cheese, and I was so excited, excited. And I was just shoveling it. I mean, it was so good. And then all of a sudden, I was talking to my mom on the phone, and I was like, hold on. She's like, what? And I'm like, literally had enough time to get me to the wall, to the sink, threw up.
No way.
It's like a clogged drain.
Wow.
It's like a clogged drain. And
that's nuts.
Now you're throwing up what you just ate.
Right.
Because you ate too fast. But, where does that come from? So now, all of the things that you've checked off in the psyche eval, have you ever had an eating disorder?
Right.
Have you ever thought about committing suicide? Have you ever XYZ, blah, blah, blah. 300 questions. And they're all somewhat similar to the same questions, but said differently.
Well, I had a surgery in 2015 for my back. So I was on a cane for almost 2 years. And they replaced a disc. And I had to go through a psych eval, which I was really pissed about. I can't fucking walk. The surgeon says I need this, and I was really annoyed by that. But
yeah.
I get why they do it.
Yeah.
But
I mean, that's your structure. That's what you were born with, and then you started trying to take pieces out and then pieces in and whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely a mental block. So that happened, and I would love to tell you that I learned my lesson from that first thing. But I would tell you that probably over the course of the year, it was you can't drink 30 minutes before or 30 minutes after a meal to keep your nutrition with gastric bypass. So if you're eating, chicken, right, for your protein, and then you're taking a drink, you're washing the nutrients, your protein, you're washing all of that out.
Really?
It's out. It's done. So you're just eating to be eating. That was one of my biggest struggles, was going to like a restaurant in this like time period.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you want to drink? I'm like, absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And they look at you like you're foreign. You don't want any water? No, I don't. I don't want any water. Thank you.
Yeah.
And then it's 25 bites. Put your fork down. Put your fork back up. Take a bite. 25. Whatever. No drink. No. And I don't think we realize when we sit down, the conversation. We sit down to eat for social, have a drink, whatever, but we don't do it for nutrients. And I think that that's still something I still struggle with, is I'm not eating to socialize. I'm not having a drink to socialize, and unless, well, technically you are, but not water or tea or, whatever.
Right.
But I'm not eating for socialization anymore. I'm eating to survive.
Yeah.
I'm eating because I have to eat. I can't function, process emotions, anything without food, substance. And what I put in my body is also how my mentality is going to come in. So then I lose the 80 pounds, and fast forward, as I'm losing all this weight, I move back to Oklahoma, and then COVID happens. I move back to Arkansas. And I remember being at a different company, and they had a gym inside there, and I had a blue tank top on. It was October, I'm going to say 16th. I know it was October 16th or 21st or something, and why I remember that, I don't know. But I posted it, and I was so excited because I'm sitting there, gym selfie, whatever, and I'm sitting like this, and I can see, the definition in my arms.
Sure.
And you can still see, the little skin that I got going on.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, I took that picture on my lunch, posted it. Wasn't for anybody but me.
Then why'd you post it?
Like, I like to see what my journey is. On my time hop,
So
I can...
So it's like for later. Almost
Yeah.
just as a recording.
Because it goes back to, I didn't do the before pictures. I have one picture that I can show
Yeah.
you that
Yeah.
was my day one that Dr. Roller's team took a picture of. And then I have one where I'm 400 pounds and nobody believes me that it's me. I'm in an orange shirt that our previous boss has took it, sent it to me, and I've
Yeah.
carried it around. It's still in my phone. It's in like the top 5. And the only reason people recognize me is off of this cross necklace. That's it.
So people now.
Yeah. Or if I show anybody and give them my journey, they're like, that's not you. And I'm like, I had the same necklace on. It's me.
The necklace can be faked.
I don't think so.
Are you an alien?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you can ask anybody. It's probably somewhere.
I remember you.
I mean,
I remember.
I've had this necklace since I
Well,
was
but
21.
You were big when I knew you.
Yeah. Yeah. I couldn't fit in the chairs. I work.
It's the same face.
In the cubicle. Sure.
Same face.
Yeah. So, and when you go back and you look at that picture, which I'll send it to you, and you're like, oh yeah, I know her.
It's
Yeah, I
definitely
remember.
you.
Sure.
Yeah.
I walked in Walmart for people that we've worked with numerous years in said company, and they'll walk right past me and they'll be like, I'm like, oh, that's, but then they're like giving me kind of a disgusting
Yeah.
look or whatever, and I'm like, oh, they don't recognize me until I start talking, and then that voice comes out, and they're like, oh my God. What is it? What happened?
Yeah.
And so then the journey, whatever. So
Well, I didn't get on social media at all until October of last year. I've been on like a year. And it was really just to kind of reconnect with some people.
Sure.
My grandpa had died. I wanted to reach out to some friends.
Sure.
And I remember scrolling across, all these people are fucking suggested friends and stuff. And I remember, this, because this would have been 23.
yeah,
Seeing you scroll across, I was like, fuck, man, she did it.
nailed it.
Good
Yeah.
for her.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Yeah,
I always thought that was really cool.
I just think that a lot of people give up themselves. They sometimes don't make it.
But go back to where your journey. So you're still at 200 or so.
So I'm still 200 at least. I 108. Yeah, I'm still in the 200s, and so
Park it at 200.
Yeah, I post this picture, and I'm not kidding you. If I didn't get 4 to 5 DMs right then, oh man, I messed up. I didn't treat you like I should have. Can you give me a second chance? Can we go to have lunch or dinner? And I remember sitting at my desk looking at them like, this is a joke. This is exactly what Dallas lady told me was going to happen.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking back to. Like, so now you're getting some...
I'm getting this attention, but I'm in a different mindset than what I was at 6 months at 80 pounds. Now I'm back home in Arkansas, which I never thought that I would ever be back in. I was safe in Texas. I could tell what I needed to tell, and nobody knew any different.
Right.
But I'm back in Arkansas. Familiar faces, past, whatever. And it all just starts coming out. And it was actually, it makes you feel good. You don't have to flip anybody off. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to acknowledge it. You can read it just so they know that you got it on there. But there were a couple people that I responded back to, and I was like, yeah, we can grab lunch, but like that's the end of it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not interested. I'm on my journey. And so fast forward to how I got into training.
Well, you sent a kind of a nasty gram not too long ago about DMs. You still getting some?
Oh, I did actually.
DMs?
Actually,
I was like, haha, that's funny.
On It's Notorious, I think I learned a lesson this recently that I need to keep my single status and to only me, and not friends or to whatever. And if I'm interested, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
But I get blown up nonstop. I posted actually 2 years ago, probably a couple weeks ago, came on my time hop, and I remember changing my profile picture on my personal Facebook, not my certified one, and I swear I almost broke the internet. I'm in this red. I went to Demi Lovato. I went through some hardships the year prior to, and Demi was on my bucket list, and it was her last concert, and we were going. And I had got pants, and I had got this shirt, and I'm 165 pounds, and I'm proud of myself. It was not a thirst trap. It was for me.
Sure, I get it.
But 670 people later, and I can't tell you how many DMs messages I got. It was too much.
Yeah.
It was not comical. It was scary. It was like people were not applauding you.
That's the female experience part the guys don't get.
Yeah,
like,
the guys don't get it.
Guys just say girls get to fuck whenever they want.
Yeah,
but it's
and
probably an overwhelmingly.
I met so many cool
guys
people.
Are fucking pigs.
I met so many cool
sorry.
people off of that picture, but then it became one of the things where I'm like, why, sir? Why are you sending me a message when you're in a relationship and I've clearly gone to your Facebook and your significant other is also on my Facebook and that's your warning. Stop. Yeah. I apologize. If you're not happy, do what you need to go do, but don't bring me into it. And I'm not interested. So I might have lost a little bit of my cool and started screenshotting and just smearing them all over Facebook. And I created an album, and it became a game. It became funny because it was like, this is dumb.
So you're getting a bunch of married dudes trying to hook up?
I got them all over. Married, together, engaged, single. Some of them were just, I don't even remember, but they were so far out there.
And this is something you have no experience in prior to.
Not really.
You know.
No, I just went for people that paid attention to me, even though they were incredibly awful for me. They acknowledged my presence at 400 or 300. But what I realized later on was they didn't have anything else either financially, or they didn't. Knowing their journey now, I realize now why they were with me or whatever. But thank God I'm past that stage. But now I'm getting my self-worth. But what's really weird, and I can't explain it, is you know how guys, girls, whatever, summer comes around and everybody's super worried about their swimsuit body? You got a dad bod, you're fine with it.
Yeah, I'm also a fucking freak, and I acknowledge it. The things that I find important are completely
opposite from society.
They're perpendicular to society.
Sure.
Like, I don't care about money. I don't care about how I look. I mean, I'm fucking handsome, so I don't
You
really
are,
have to
you're
worry about
super
it.
attractive.
You know, but like I just don't care. Like everybody's always chasing these things, and I'm like, bro, I'm good.
I mean,
I'm
you
good
have a
right
beard
where I'm
comb.
at.
You have a beard comb.
A what?
A beard comb. You have a beard comb.
I do have a beard comb.
I mean, that's all that needs to be said.
What's wrong with it?
There's nothing wrong with it. Most guys,
was a
I
fucking
mean,
gift.
maybe most guys don't. I don't.
It was a gift from my children.
I
Back
think
when
it's
I had-
cool.
Yeah, it's all right.
Anyway,
But
or
I-
you have the beard
But I
spray
don't-
or whatever.
But like, no, I don't even use that shit. It was like a gift, you know. It's one of those things. But like, I don't find importance in the things society finds important, and so I'm always at odds with everyone.
Right.
No matter who I work with, people just don't ever get me. You know, you're just in a fucking land of capitalism and fucking fucked up values, trying to make it. And I'm an introvert too, which doesn't help. And so I just want to be kind of left alone, you know.
Yeah.
And it's always the fucking Razorbacks, or I'm getting this boat that my neighbor's got. And I don't fucking care.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care, man. I don't.
I-
and it really sucks, and it makes me really depressed a lot of times. I get really down about it and feel really alone.
Yeah.
But
Which is something that for me, when I went through this little adventure 3 years ago, I'm an extrovert. Like I can
Yeah.
walk into any room and you're a stranger, and I can be very balanced with it. But the minute you start trying to start getting in my personal life and ask me questions, we're done.
yeah.
I'll let you know what you need to know. And
But more than the physical journey, I'm really more interested in like the emotional, mental change that you had to go through, because you
it
had
never
to
goes
adapt
away.
fast.
It never goes away. So one of the biggest things that I have problems with, and I tell my clients all the time, is, well, even posting pictures as I'm going through my journey. I had people write on my Facebook, which I think is super brave. You took the easy way out. Don't. Mm-mm. I don't expect you or anybody that hasn't been a part of that journey, no matter what surgery you have, that be they could call it a dwindle switch, or, you know, I'm going blank, or gastric bypass, or all of the different ones that they can do now. If you haven't been through it and you don't know the mentality that it comes with, it's not something that it's like alcoholism or drugs or any of that.
Guilty.
It's you.
People don't understand
You
it.
struggle to not walk into a bar and you get a water or a tea instead of a
Yeah.
drink if you have that. And
Yeah.
I don't remember ever having like an eating disorder or being emotionally eating other than as a child, but as an adult, I don't feel like I did that, but I don't know. I might have. But to tell somebody on that journey that is still going through that journey, and I mean, it's been a hot minute. It's 2024. It's been since 2019 to tell me that I took an easy way out. I can tell you right now, had 7 surgeries. Out of the 7 surgeries that I've had, this is the one. It's transformed my body, but mentally, it's a mental mind game. Every
What
morning
were
when
the
you
other
wake up,
surgeries for?
feet, feet.
So not weight loss.
No.
Okay.
No. And some people have to go back and
Well,
have
that's what I was
another weight
asking.
loss thing.
But you've also worked your ass off.
Yeah, I've tried. And so bringing up another point is for, in 2017, I went to a customer, it was 2017. I went to a customer and I was 300 pounds, same boss, everything. And we went up to a customer that was an oil and gas customer, and the stairs were covered up in Vaseline. And we should have never been up there in the first place, but I fell down them. And my leg got a little trapped in the staircase, the metal grated staircase, and I was basically hanging down. And of course, being heavy set, I was like, got back up. And I was like, yeah, fine. Went and had lunch with another customer and whatever. And the next morning, I was like, I felt like I had got done running. I felt horrible.
That's
I
the
was
American dream. You could have won a
sore.
lawsuit.
I know, and I don't know
and
why I
just
didn't
retired.
do it. I know. But here I am. And so, I remember calling my sister. I'm like, you got to keep your phone on because something's messed up. I also got the call that my grandmother that I was super close to was in hospice and she was dying.
Yeah.
And she was going to die that week. And so everything was very...
What year was that?
2017.
That was 17?
Huge.
Yeah, mine was 2014. It was literally the week we moved in here.
And I was like so absent-minded that it was just like, you just go in survival mode and you just keep going and keep going. And so we eventually went to the hospital, did the x-rays, nothing broke. And so from 2017 up until 2 years ago, you know, my back would have a couple spasms. I'd get some, you know, muscle relaxers, lay down in bed for a day, and it'd be fine. Well, in my journey, I ended up working at Planet Fitness and also working my full-time job. And I was going through all of these things, which started me lifting weights and training myself and all of this stuff. And then my back spasms out. And I went to a local chiropractor. And he adjusted me and told me to come back the next day. And I was like, no, I'll let you know. Thursday, I go back to said chiropractor and he adjusted me. And the Friday morning, I woke up and I fell out of my bed. My entire left leg was completely numb. I had no control over it. I doggy crawled to my car. I didn't know what was going on, but my body was shaking and all of this stuff. And I ended up driving myself, having to hit the gas, hit the brake, just get the car door closed, go into urgent care. It was a hot mess. I'm still partially numb on my left foot and I don't feel my left hamstring. The rest of it came back. So for the last 2 years, I have hurt to work out. I'll be able to go, once a month, go in there and barely do anything. I had a limp for a long time. Couldn't do anything. And so I had no outlet and I had what I developed to do all of my trauma and my triggers and all of this stuff from childhood and adulthood and the surgery and the mental game and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
I had nothing. I couldn't do anything. Well, my eating was programmed into losing and gaining and protein and blah, blah, blah. And so I started gaining weight back. And so just literally month and a half ago, went to a doctor and went through all of the medicines I was currently taking and started pain management where they do the shot in the back. And the doctor that did the shot told me I needed to go do yoga and Pilates. And I'm like, that's cool. That's for some people. It is not for me.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you don't need to be lifting weights. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing yoga or Pilates. That's not me. That's not a good enough answer for me. Realizing the damage that I could do, it was not going to be okay for me. And so I went to a doctor, a regular doctor, and went through all of this stuff. And this person recommended some medicine. And I've been on the medicine for a month and a half. And I'm down 25 pounds. I work out 2 to 3 times a day. I have an outlet. I'm going back to being mentally healthy. Not struggling with the mental game that it continuously happens.
But how did you get into training other people? When did that start? And you're still doing it.
Yeah,
right?
Still do it.
It's part of your name.
It is. It's a part. It's a part of my brand now. Ironically, in my 3 years working at Planet Fitness, I started going at 3 o'clock in the morning because I don't like to wait on machines, and if you've ever been to the gym at 5 o'clock at night, it's horrible, and nobody wants.
I've never been to a fucking gym in my life, so
it's a disaster.
Any time of day or anywhere.
It's a disaster. It's a disaster.
It's like green eggs and ham. No, not there, not here.
But you love the book. But you love the book. So, ironically,
I also think gym people are douchey people by nature, and that's a stereotype.
So,
that's a stereotype.
I'm glad you brought that up because I had to learn gym etiquette. I didn't realize you don't walk in front of somebody that's doing a set while they're looking at themselves in the mirror. And I'm like, that's so egotistical to sit there and look at yourself in a mirror. It took me a while to
Can you
realize.
confirm or deny the stereotype, though? Are they douchey for the most part?
It depends on where you're at.
Yeah.
It depends on the
So
person.
certain gyms maybe have
I would say
a
certain
douchey
gyms have
clientele.
people that scan in that have a certain ego, but I will also and defend them in this. Your muscles don't come on overnight. So you have to be very dedicated to earn that douche name. You have to be very dedicated to get to the level, the size, to your beautiful peach butt, to your sculpted arms, to your sculpted quads. To be a bodybuilder is insane.
Oh, absolutely.
To do that regimen. And I actually, when I started going at 3 a.m., I was working at Planet Fitness, so I knew certain people that were coming in, and I turned into an introvert, which is crazy. When I'm an introvert, I'm not okay.
Yeah.
So what I was doing was taking myself completely out of public. I didn't go to Walmart. I did pick up grocery. I completely took myself out of public, other than working at Planet Fitness. I got my extrovert self out of with these surface level people that weren't trying to get to know me. Hey, how are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Do whatever. So then I started going at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I remember trying to do that multiple times prior to this, and I just couldn't commit to it.
Yeah.
I started going, and there's a certain level of people that can do a 3 a.m., don't want to be bothered, they don't want to be talked to, they've got their earphones on, they know gym etiquette. Hey, you're not using this, can I use this while you're doing it and then change the way back? Yeah. It's not the mentality of 5 p.m. and people are sitting on their phones, whatever. So you become one of the 3 a.m.s, not a clique. It was not like that. 3 a.m.s I don't even think deserve a clique name.
Sure.
But hey, how are you doing? Whatever. So fast forward, there was a gentleman there that was 80 something. He came up to me one day, and I had never talked to this gentleman in my life. Didn't know his story, didn't know who he was. You don't talk to people at 3 a.m. He came up to me and he said, looks me straight in the face, and he said, I don't know what your name is. And he said, and I don't know what you're battling. He was like, but you should do something with it. And I said, excuse me? And I'm very thrown off because it's 4 a.m. and I'm in, my earbuds in, and I'm jamming out, whatever. And he reiterates, do something with it. I later on learned his name. He's ex-military, so if that tells you how gracefully he said it twice. It was not mincing words by any means. And I'm like, thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it. I'm not interested in making my journey, my problems, my whatever, somebody else's. That's on them.
Right.
Choose yourself. I chose mine. You do you. The very same day, I had another lady that had came up to me, and she knew I had surgery, and we had talked a little bit or whatever.
Right.
And she said, I have a lady at work, and I was telling her about you, and I told her she should come meet you. And maybe you could help her because she's literally killing herself again after she's had this gastric bypass surgery. She's gaining the weight back. And I'm like, that's on her.
Sure.
It's not on me. She's got to choose herself, whatever. And
Accountability.
She's like, well,
yeah.
Can I give her your name? Sure. But I'm not going to spare her feelings.
Right.
You might want to tell her that.
Yeah.
And she said, your story is truly inspirational. You should do something with it. Same day, same words. And I was like, huh.
Were the butterflies in the background by any chance at this point?
Nope.
That would have been majestic.
With sparing company names, whatever, I had some females that had came in to Planet Fitness, and they have trainers there free of charge to do whatever, and they had said, do you have the trainers with this program? And they do, but one woman couldn't have a male trainer because of how she lives her life. And then the other one I learned was trauma bonded from a past male experience. She wouldn't even get in a stand-up tanning bed. It was a weird thing. And so they asked me, like, do you have any girl trainers? And I'm like,
I want you to tell your story, but there's so many fucking things I want to. Like,
you can do
go
it.
back to.
But anyways,
Well, I don't want to interrupt because this is really.
So,
I don't want to interrupt the flow, but I want to go back and revisit
I had asked, hey, is there any way we can find out where the girl trainers are in Northwest Arkansas? So these two women, said women, anywhere around, can advertise for our culture that we're giving them an out. We're giving them their promise that we're giving them, right?
Yeah.
I was told no. And then I said, well, can I go get mine? And then on Saturday and Sunday when I'm working 16 hours and somebody has a question, can I help? Can I just show them on a machine? No. You know me. I don't really do no. I'm going to ask why. It's not insubordinate why. I just need you to make it sense.
Yeah, people don't like it.
People don't like it. People have never liked it at all. And
questions.
I can't change that within me. I need to know why.
I'm the same person. And that's why I don't do well in a company environment.
Yeah. I just...
Y'all's fucking up.
You make it make sense in my head, and I will defend it until my death.
Sure. Just make it make sense.
But you're not making sense.
But it doesn't
This
make
is
any
our
sense,
culture.
yeah.
We're offering free training, but we're going to tell people that have trauma and triggers that we can't offer a solution. No, it's not okay. Not okay with me. So, I'm wrapping up my coming to Jesus moment here. I've been working out, and then I decide I'm going to go see Demi Lovato, and I'm going to reward myself because I deserve that. And then, on the same day that I'm going through all of this mess, and I book my flight, I'm going to sign up for school. I'm going to go get my trainer license. I'm not going to ask permission anymore to give somebody a reason to not go better themselves. It's done. It's over. So I went through school and got it. And
how long was that? Well, what did that?
I think it was like September-ish, middle September-ish, and between working 2 full-time jobs, life, errands, friends, very few close-knit friends that I kept seeing. I wrapped it up right around December, and it was super important to me at that time to... My sister was graduating with a degree in aerospace, a master's degree in aerospace. She's got the brains, I got the common sense. But it was super important for me to not take away from her journey, but to get to celebrate with her and to bring something that was so negative, but so positive and influential in my life to be able to tell my story. So now a 400-pound person comes to me and says, my knees hurt.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. 100%. What are your questions?
Well, that was abrupt. That's the end of the story?
I mean, that's what it is. And so now I train people that don't, and it's not to the industry, but they don't want to go to a bodybuilder unless they're going to bodybuild. They want to go with somebody that, one, I still have my excess skin. I still have to tuck it in my pants.
That was actually one of them. Like, when you lose so much weight, what happens to the skin?
It just, it stays there.
It's there.
Unless you go get it surgically removed. And I did have...
So your body doesn't absorb it back in or anything? Like,
well, in your 40s, your elasticity is not great.
Yeah,
so the younger that you have it, the better you bounce back. I did have a procedure on my inner thighs and then my arms done, but like at any given, I still have my bat wings, and I still have my excess skin here. It's minimal.
But they cut some out?
They didn't cut it out. It's actually lipo. Dr. Roller does a procedure, body tight, and I don't have any scarring. You cannot see any part of it, but when you go from 400 pounds to 100, 165, you're talking about a 240-pound person that's gone of skin.
Well, let's get into the conversation part of this now, because the one thing you've mentioned a couple times is that guys are fucking creeps.
People are creeps. I'm not.
Okay, maybe people.
I haven't been catcalled by women.
I talked to another lady about this on another podcast, which she had a very a, a lot of it's DMs and just creepers online, and
Sure.
and but like, are men in general around here really that creepy? Like, maybe it's my own inner circle, but I feel like the men I know are honorable, good men that would like just not. And what is your experience with it? I don't see it.
I feel like it's sexist.
Don't fucking worry about it.
I know, but I feel like
here.
it's sexist to be able to put in a category to put it as two men, because I do think
I don't want that shit going on. Like, that's...
Well, no, you wouldn't want that for your children.
Absolutely not.
And
I wouldn't want my children to be doing that. I have all boys.
That is the sad part, but you don't want those men to be treating women or girls as they're growing up in that gesture, and it's just...
Well, it's 2024. Like, you treat... I don't know. I'm old school. I told you my grandfather was, you know, he was just an old school hunter, but a gentleman, and it was you treat women like a lady. Chivalry.
Yes.
Like, I grew... Well, both my grandpas were like that. You know,
Sure.
you treat women like a lady.
Yeah.
And I've always respected that. Like, I believe in that, and I just assume everyone else does too. And I'm probably off my fucking rocker.
No, I think when you look in the spectrum of, I think it's weird. People have a problem with weird, that word. I think it's unethical to say that it's men, because I think that men, even going back years and years ago, have got the stigma of opening doors for women. Well, why can't women open doors for their husband or their partner or their children or whatever? Yeah. Why are you putting it...
It's kind of like saying bless you when somebody sneezes.
Yeah.
You know where that came from?
No.
It's during the fucking Black Plague, when you started coming down with symptoms. You started sneezing.
Oh.
And so they would say bless you because you were about to die. Like, that's what it came about. So I'm done with the bless you. I'm done with it. I'm over it. And I've gotten a lot of negative... It's kind of like the Seinfeld episode where the guy doesn't say bless you to his wife. I don't know if you remember that one.
I don't watch TV.
But...
we've met. I don't have the attention to save my life.
But it's one of those things that we just do because we do it. Mm-hmm. There's not an actual reason for it.
So, bringing that up, two of my rules... Well, one of my rules is when I train, first rule is you don't say I'm sorry. That's how you got here. People pleasing.
Sure.
Don't say I'm sorry. And you get the first free month of saying I'm sorry, and then you're going to notice how many I'm sorries that you make during the day, and you're going to stop. And in culture, when you're in the corporate world, you say, dear customer, I apologize. Yeah. No. What? Dear customer, I realize that this, and this happened. I'm conscious of it. It will not happen again. Sincerely, Shawn. Whatever. It goes the same direction, same way.
Yeah.
They don't get to say I'm sorry. The second month that they go around and they're still saying I'm sorry, they get extra reps. They get extra sets. We're going to change it. Now, that's a trauma from my childhood. And I don't expect anybody to carry that but my own. But I also want people to realize that I'm sorry and I love yous are kind of like bless yous or God bless yous or whatever, or I love yous are...
Yeah.
Do you? And now we're all questioning it.
But you were never a people pleaser, were you?
As my sister says, I'm a complicated individual. I think it depends. I think on a surface level, you and I, no. I think when you get into relationships, yes. I think when you get onto...
That's a different level.
It's a different level, but you're still people pleasing.
That's it. But it's with an individual versus a society.
Society,
like,
no.
People that play the game in society, I have a hard time not despising them. Sure. Because I don't understand them. Mm-hmm. It's like, why do you give a fuck what this VP or so-and-so
but you're an
thinks
introvert.
Of you?
An extrovert doesn't think like that.
Is it an introvert thing? I don't know that has anything to do with...
If you're in close quarters and you don't really have that thrill of meeting new people and that constant feeding the appetite, so to speak.
Like, for example, the thing I've noticed the most on social media in the last year, and I'm only on Facebook, which is basically my parents' generation's media. you know, everything's Instagram and TikTok. I'm like, I'm not going to be a part of that shit.
Sure.
I learned early. Like, Facebook's where I'm comfortable.
Okay.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with it at all. But so many of the posts are just seeking validation.
Yeah. There's studies showing now that the culture, like where your kids are at, that's where they're going to get their validation. There's something wrong with that. And then there's people.
Well, kids, I don't think should be on social media.
No,
Anyway.
but when they get to their 18 and their 20-year-olds,
Yeah.
they've heard it or they've seen it their parents or whatever, and now their parents are like, "Oh, so and so liked my post, blah blah blah," and then you're going to see how many people hearted it and how many people liked it and whatever.
But it's the grown ass men who are like just trying to. What's the topic I can just make a superficial conversation with this person and move on to the next one?
I'll give you an example. I'll
Yeah,
give you a prime
please.
example.
Yeah.
The other day when you saw that post and the gentleman whatever,
Yeah.
I literally
thought it was
deleted.
hilarious.
I deleted the gentleman, and after he said my apologies whatever, I deleted him, and it was not 20 seconds later he friend requested me again. I blocked out his name to spare him because we had like 12 mutual friends and like whatever, I'm sparing the friends group too, like dude, like don't be
Right.
weird. On the way over here, as I'm leaving the gym, I get a message from a gentleman like, "Hey girl," I don't remember how it started, like whatever, and I was like, he's like, I don't remember what it was like, do I know, or how do I know you, or something like that. I'm like, I don't know, you friend requested me. I know for a fact I didn't friend request you. I know that mentally. I know I didn't. You friend requested me, so why are you asking if we know each other? I don't know you. And so now I am automatically defensive because X, Y, and Z of years upon years upon years has happened of all of these DMs. I automatically trigger myself into saying, I don't know, dude. You friend requested me. How do I know you? Or how do you know me? And then he proceeds to say that he's lost 50 pounds on a Peloton. He's telling me that he's proud of himself and I'm an inspiration to him, whatever. But I've already, I already came at him in a defensive manner because of how he started his wording.
Sure.
Now, is it true? I don't know. Has he lost 50 pounds? I don't know. Don't know him.
Yeah.
But I think now I'm on that guarded scheme of, well, how do I know X, Y, and Z is coming? How do I know he lost 50 pounds? Am I going to lose sleep over it tonight? No. My response was, that's amazing. What's your goal?
Right.
How are you getting to that?
Yeah.
And I genuinely care. But again, you're choosing you. I'm happy for you. I will applaud you. I'll be right there, Facebook worthy.
Well, you've probably helped a lot of people though.
But I'm hoping my story
actuality.
does generate, this is possible. Do you
But
need weight loss
IRL,
surgery? I
yeah.
don't know. Like, I'm not a doctor. But if I can help you cross things off the list and get you to a point where you're like, okay, Shawn, what do you think? Then we can have that conversation. But I'm not somebody that pushes, Brad, you need gastric bypass. Like, this is the easy way out. Because honestly, it's quite the opposite. I'm like, do the work, figure it out. Because what's going to happen is if you do have an emotional eating, whatever, what's going to end up happening is that you're going to have this surgery. Then you're going to have the attention. What happens over here?
Yeah.
What happens if your relationship doesn't work out? What happens
Sure,
if you have a
sure.
death in the family? What happens?
Well,
Whatever.
that's with anything.
Yeah.
I mean, here's how pathetic I am. So I'm going flea marketing, right? And I'm like, can I take in a fucking camo mug with beer in it? Like, do they allow drinks? Or is that just pathetic? Like, that's the way I think. I'm like, I'd kind of like to have a beer while I'm going through the flea market. I'm like, God damn, that's pathetic. And I didn't do it. I'm there for a fucking hour and a half in this goddamn mall. And all I can think about is like, I just need a drink. Because you get so used to that crutch.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I gotta get out of here. I gotta go. Have
But
a
is
drink.
that Arkansas, or could you do it in a different state? And would that be normal?
No,
What's normal here?
Nah, it had nothing to do with where I'm at. It's
Yeah, but like you can walk down the
this-
street with a beer in different states. And
Oh, I see what you're
we're
saying.
coming back to society where we're starting to run a little bit.
But at the same time, I'm also like it's kind of pathetic that I need it to walk through a flea. Like I'm aware of how pathetic that is, and I'm like I'm not gonna do it. And I've done it before, but this time I was like, nah, it's fine. It's 4:15. I can wait an hour. You know what I mean? But like throughout the day, like that's one of those things. Like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you get that.
It's your
And
habit.
it's like beer has been with me since I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
It's been with me through all the hardest times. It's been there longer than anybody.
Yeah.
It's been through the hard times. It's been
Yeah.
through the good times. It's
Yeah.
like that old. It's like that old meme. You know, I drink when my team wins to celebrate. I drink when my team loses.
loses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just it silences because I have a lot of fucking just anxiety voices that are just always constantly on. It's like red alarm. Like when I wake up in the morning, I'm not sluggish and having to get around and get some coffee. I'm freaking out about everything.
Yeah.
And it's like, holy shit. And you can take meds and you can do all that shit, but like beer just takes those edges off and just.
And I think
lets
that's
know.
for some people. I think what I realized in
I agree. Alcoholism is for some people. If you can manage it, because light beer is great because you don't get fucked up.
Right.
Like if you have too much, you just all right, you ease it down.
Yeah.
You know, whereas like I don't do whiskey. I don't do any hard shit.
Right.
But it's still not healthy.
I think that what I realized in my journey too, when I started the workouts for myself, is that when you work 96 hours a week and you're also working out and starting out at 3 a.m. and then you're getting home at 10:30 during the week and you're cycling that, and then you're working 16-hour days on Saturday and Sunday, and that's just what your life consists of, and you're
Yeah.
not having any human reaction react.
But you're always on the go.
Correct. But that's no different than you popping a beer. Because what I'm doing is mentally fatiguing out my brain.
Yeah.
I am fatiguing out my body, my mind, everything. I literally got tested for ADHD. I don't think it was shock. It was shock for
You've got
anybody.
it. You've got it.
I think we all have it to some degree, but I don't think anybody was shocked that I had it.
Yeah. I'm not shocked at all. This is my shocked face.
I yeah.
Yeah.
But
Do you take
I
anything for it, or do you just?
so roughly I
Power
did
through.
for the last 3 years, and then when I went through the last month, and when I went to the doctor, that was one of my things where I'm like, look, I'm on 50 milligrams of so and so, and I still don't care what anybody's talking about. I still can't pay attention. I can't sit in front of a computer and have clear thoughts. This is not working. We've tried different medications. What's the purpose? Like, did I get misdiagnosed? Do I have something else? Like, whatever. And so I wasn't sleeping. There was lots of stuff going on in my life. And so we took that out. And I got on different medications for sleep and the nerves for my leg and my back. And I am sleeping. And I can't tell you the last time that I've slept. Like, I sleep
But it's
now.
with a
I have a minimal sleep medicine, and then I have a nerve block, but the nerve block isn't necessarily to sleep with. It just is treating it and making it to where my body can do what I need it to do.
Are you anti-cannabis? Have you tried any of that stuff? Or
Yeah. When you work in corporate world, you don't get to.
yeah, no, I know that's what's fucked up.
I wouldn't say that I'm anti. I think that
Yeah, if you work in that to me is what gets me so fired up. It's like these natural things are actually better for you and they work better, but you can't have a job if you do those things.
Correct.
But you can do something that damages your fucking liver. And that's fine. And you can be high all day. There's people who are fucking high all day on all kinds of fucking narcotics that are legal by our pharmaceutical drug dealers.
Yeah.
You know? And it's
Well,
just
and
so
that's why-
fucking upside down to me.
It's why I went to a different doctor than what I would normally go to, because this person had seen my journey, and they had seen me with my back, and were one of those people that said, go home. Like, you're doing more damage than what you're doing. Like, you need to go see a pain management doctor. Like, this is what you need to do. And of course, nobody was going to do that. But am I anti-cannabis? No. I think that, without getting into too much depth, I think that there is a reason why it is not more mainstream like pharmaceutical. I think that it kind of somewhat treats certain different cancers, and there's certain things that we're not going to treat cancer wise because there's too much money coming in, and I'm gonna leave it there.
That's fair enough.
I remember a friend of mine had a child, and I can't remember what was wrong with her. She had some, I think, a brain tumor or something, and they had went to Colorado, and the doctor, obviously, there in Colorado was different than, society, and
Sure.
they did what they needed to do, and the tumor went down significantly.
Yeah.
And that's science.
Yeah.
Now, do I know any more about what happened, or the amounts, or how many times a day? No, that's not my business. But I also know that if a tumor shrinks,
Yeah.
you can't just make a tumor shrink because you're sitting in a hospital. There's got to be things that are happening to that. So,
I think our whole drug industry is fucked.
well, people are making hundred thousands of whatever. They're getting pens, and you're writing and signing your credit card receipt with them. Basically, it's money. It's money.
It's always the root.
Yeah, it has been for a long time.